All right. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Cecelia Lawrence, and my day job is as the library director of the North Platte Public Library. And in the evening, I love to either act on stage or direct in the local community playhouse.
And what are you going to be? You're going to be directing what show this season?
Currently, I'll be directing The Odd Couple, which is the first performance of the Playhouse's productions, and I'm real excited about that. It's such a funny play. You can't go wrong with Neil Simon's writing.
Very nice, very nice. How long have you been involved in the theater?
You know, I've been involved in some capacity for about 12 years. I started out on stage as an actor. Actually happens to be where I met my husband, both actors on stage. And after I was in a couple productions, I decided I really wanted to take a turn at directing. And my first play was Blythe's Spirit, which is typically done as one act in a lot of high schools. And so we did the full play, and I co-directed that with Carolyn Clark and really fell in love with directing. And so I've been directing ever since. Haven't actually gone back and acted, although I would love to.
Is there anything holding you back of going back to directing or going back to acting again?
Probably nothing really at this time. It's you just never know what parts are going to hit you, and there always seem to be more interesting parts for the men than there are the women, I'm sorry to say. And a lot of times I don't fit the right age, because a lot of the plays that we do, you know, you're needing 20-year-old actors, and it's hard to make a 45-year-old person look 20. So I'm not the best person for a lot of the productions that they do, but wouldn't keep me from trying out if I was really interested in a part.
Very nice. And then how did you start acting and directing? When you was it just like, oh, okay, I want to start acting, okay, I really want to start directing?
Actually, my whole first experience really was involving playing in the pit orchestra. I play the cello and I play in a string quartet, and I played in several pit orchestras when I was in college, and they needed a cellist, so I played in the pit orchestra for Annie Get Your Gun and Annie. And one of the reasons why I even did that when I first moved to North Platte was I was looking for a way to meet people, and men especially, and one of the things I noticed was everybody in the pit orchestra was married, so I needed to be up on stage where there was more single people, and that's actually what got me up on stage. And when I did, and it was just the right production, first production I did, I actually met my husband, so it was like a dating service for me.
Very nice. I remember that. Who in the whole theater realm, who inspires you?
Oddly enough, one of the programs that I love to watch is Inside the Actors Studio, which is put on by Pace University, and the moderator for that is James Lipton. And I'm so intrigued. I realize that he is an instructor and he is there in a moderating capacity, but his questions are so probing of the actors, and it really brings out the best in both actors and directors. So I find him very inspiring.
Very nice. That's what I kind of hope for, for this thing that we have going here. But hopefully, haven't been in it as long as James Lipton has. And then I have one final question to ask you, and then I'll leave you alone.
Okay.
Do you remember a particular performance of acting or directing? And can you tell us about it?
There's two that really are memorable. And the first one was the first play I directed, which was Blythe's Spirit. We were short the people in the cast, and so both myself and Carolyn, who was a co-director, ended up acting in the play. And there's a seance scene, and the table is supposed to bounce around on stage, and the actors, of course, make that happen. We got a little carried away with it, and rather than tipping the table over, the whole table ended up in the pit. And we were, the shocked look on our faces, I mean, I'm sure some audience members realized that wasn't quite what was supposed to happen, and other people don't remember it. And the other one was the one and only musical that I've directed, which was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And there's a scene where they light this little rocket, and it's just an air rocket, and you pump it up, and it would go up and it'd come back down. A guy would catch it and say the funny line. Well, one night they pumped it up a little bit too much, and the thing shot up, and it never came down. And so all these actors are just staring for this very, very pregnant pause. Live theater. Oh my gosh, you just can't beat it. And we were all just looking. It came down. It came down 3 years later, and it happened to be an actor that was in How to Succeed, and he happened to be one that does hear this plink, and he looks over there, and there's the rocket. We couldn't believe it. 3 years later, and that's part of the reason why I love live theater. You never know what is going to happen, and the actors really step up their game when you've got a good audience that is really interacting. It really comes through in the performances, and when the audience is kind of dead, the actors, they try, but they might be a little dead too. So having a great audience is a key to having just a tremendous performance as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks.